have your traffic around so we don't have it going through Bickleton on those road systems.
Are there signs down at Biggs for
There's
the
signage,
exits?
and the state DOT is working on beefing up that signage so the message is clear. The problem with the reader boards is they can only have a limited amount of information that'll display. So they're trying to find solutions to get a better message out to the motoring public.
And the other thing they were mentioned too is that they were going to try to get the highway advisory radio up and working also, so they can be utilizing that system to tell people.
And to update the applications for the DOT and their website to get the message out a little clearer.
Is there a good spot for the public to find information in between, public briefings and?
Just this morning, I'll let Josie speak to
I know
that.
the INSI web page is up.
Yeah, and that's what came up this morning, and that's going to be the best resource right now. The Sheriff's Office is continuously trying to do Facebook posts, but what we don't do is comment on fire behaviors, fire activity, because we're not firemen, and that information isn't necessarily being relayed to the Sheriff's Office on a minute-by-minute basis. So we're trying to deal with the things that pertain to citizen safety as far as evacuations, getting them out of the area, and those things, and leaving the fire information up to the experts. And that's the fire, and I think that's where you're going to get a lot of information is on the INSI web.
And for the evacuations and stuff, what we don't, because like I said, we don't order the evacuations. We make a recommendation to the Sheriff's Office based on our predictions and what we expect to be happening. And work closely with the Sheriff's Office as we see what we out there and hand off our recommendations to the Sheriff's Office for that.
So as soon as they know something and they tell us, we're going to start modifying these evacuation zones. Once it gets to the point where the fire crews think that it's going to impact more structures or whatever the case may be, we're going to start reacting to those situations.
And just so you're aware, INSI web is up. The way the process goes, this is really our first real day here, so we have to have approval from the incident commander. He's going to review the information we have. We're going to get up there within, let's say, the next half hour as soon as we get done here. And then we're looking to update with additional maps. And, just because the fire activity and some of the situations happening, we're going to probably put out another update on the fire situation and what we have going on out in the field again. So you can look at that. If you have specific questions, there's an email address on there as well. So you can certainly email it to us. If it's an operations question, we'll make sure that make sure you leave your phone number and whatever. Operations is really good about looking at that and then giving somebody a call back. And then we are definitely planning for, we have to take care of the logistics, but we're planning for a meeting in the community, the Box Canyon Road area. So that would be the level 2 area we're talking about. We want to make sure that you folks are getting that information and you can ask your questions at that time. So we are planning to do a meeting tomorrow. Time hasn't been set. Probably at the fire station. We've got to get permission from them. They've got to open it up. And then we're going to do another one probably in Bickleton as well, just to make sure everybody's getting their information and asking their questions. So that is the next step that we have planned.
Yeah, and just talking more about or our recommendations on evacuation and all this. I take a very conservative safety approach to that. So, and the reason I do that is I don't want to get ever into a situation where I'm telling the Sheriff's Department we need to evacuate people and we have fire in there and causing issues. I take a very conservative approach on that. We understand people being able to get in and out of their homes and stuff like that, but I want to be able to have people prepared to move if they need to. They need to be able to move livestock and stuff like that. When we do a level 1, that's a notification. We may never see the fire from that, but I want to be able to put that information out or suggest that to that so people can take that extra time to make those preparations that they need to do.
With regard to livestock, I know with the monastery fire, you opened the fairgrounds. I hear the fairground has a Bible camp at the moment. we are in level 3. We're on status, and we've moved our courses to a place that should be sort of, it's right at the edge of the level 2 now.
Okay.
But should we need to move them again, is there some place at the moment where we can?
I'll comment on that real quick. We do have resources available for storage both at the fairgrounds and with local farmers and ranchers that have stepped up to volunteer their space and their corral resources. If you need those numbers, I can provide those numbers if you need help transporting them or finding a location for them. Yes, there is a rodeo Bible camp, and due to the children's safety at that Bible camp, they don't want strangers in and amongst them. But however, we have been in contact with the Board of Commissioners, and they have ensured us that if the fire situation gets to a point that we have to use the fairgrounds as a resource, that will become available to us. And we will work with the other county officials to ensure that happens. So you will have a place to put them, either at the fairgrounds or through the other resources that the citizens of the county are willing to provide. And if you do need the number, I can provide that after the meeting for the person that's willing to help transport and arrange those resources.
And then with the Red Cross shelter that they set up, do you know if they're taking pets, dogs, cats?
No, we are not right now.
I do know of a couple resources. If you have dogs, they'll keep them on a very short-term basis. But again, the fairgrounds may be an option for some of your medium-sized. If you got a little Chihuahua, I don't think there's any place at the fairgrounds that we can contain it. But if it's medium-sized,
the Australian Shepherd.
okay, we might have a place to be able to pin them up for a reasonable amount of time.
Can you tell me on the reservation land where this is burning, is any of that private property that's being burned, or is it all tribal owned?
I don't have the ownership maps handy right now. I know that's one of the things we were trying to get, because there was the question about some of the private inholdings.
There is private corporations in here that have timber. I don't know if the fire has affected it yet, but it could very well be, and that'd be Western Pacific Timber has interests in that area, as well as DNR and Yakima Tribal. Those are the 3 main property holders that I'm aware of.
But I have not seen the property ownership map yet.
I know that
our plotter has been giving us some fits.
I know that the county declared an emergency yesterday, and one of the tribal representatives said they were considering it. Do you know if that has happened?
I do not know if they have done that or not, but I know we did some observation flights with some of the liaison people with the tribal council, and they were going to go back and do the recommendations. So I have not heard yet if the Yakima Nation's declared.
Okay, thanks.
I know you were advising crews about marijuana grows. Have you encountered any of those?
Not to my knowledge.
Not to my knowledge either. I encountered one, I don't know, 15 years ago down here.
It's just very common that we have several in the Simcoe Mountains every year, and so I'm willing to bet you there's one up there somewhere. Whether the fire gets to it or not, time will tell.
So if we're about done with the questions, I know these two